Hi guys, so I've got the Nissan Almera here and I think it needs a timing chain change, so I'm going to try and document the change as best as I can. It's something new for me. I've never even changed an aux belt before, so see how we get along. I'll try and document it as best I can and probably make a few mess ups along the way. So first things first, I'm going to jack the car up, take the driver's side wheel off. May try and get the engine mount off if I can. I'll take the cam cover off, try and set it to TDC on piston 1 and go from there. So I've got the car jacked up now on an Axlestand. To get access to the engine I need to take this inner arch liner out, so I think I'll do that next. So the inner arch lining is held on by 10mm bolt there and a 10mm there, a little plastic clip there, one there, and another 10 underneath there. Focus. Nope. Another 10 there and a couple more plastic clips, and then that should just drop off. Just a bit of an update, the second 10mm underneath you don't need to do. As you can see, it's a bit rusty on the radiator support over there, but yeah, I've got the cover down. I didn't manage to get the two other plastic clips out, put a bit of a fight, I didn't want to really break them, so I just bent the engine cover, and there she is, the bottom of the engine, the crank pulleys. So I think I'll probably be able to do quite a bit from the bottom. So yeah, see how we get on. So before I go any further, I figured it would be a good idea to disconnect the battery. So I've disconnected the positive turbo, and now I'm going to undo the spark plugs, take them off, take off the electrical connections here for the knock sensor, I do believe, and the cam timing sensor there, and that should be it around this side of the engine. I need to figure out how I'm going to take this engine mount out. I'm thinking about taking them two bolts out there and see how we get along. The tension of the power steering pump, if you can't really see it too well, doesn't look too pretty, so that's going to be a bit of a WD-40 job. Yeah, just ticking along. There's no real rush to finish this job, and obviously I've never done it before, so I want to take my time, make sure I do stuff right. But I'm probably, well, almost definitely. So coil packs are off, and both breather hoses off the cam cover are off as well. But unfortunately, I've just sliced my thumb right in half, so I'm calling it a do at that. I'll come back when I've fixed myself. Hello. So I took the rocker cover off. The cams actually look quite alright. There's no massive signs of wear on the lobes. So here you can see the tensioner down there. Now that's only meant to protrude a few millimetres. I've read online if it protrudes more than 10mm, then the chain is stretched. So yeah, definitely that's more than 10mm. And so the chain needs to be stretched. Luckily this engine doesn't have variable valve timing on it, so the whole locking the actuator, if it's called that, is not a problem really. I just need to be able to somehow lock the cams in place so I can change the chain, but I'll come across that bridge when I get to that. So covered up the cams, so I don't want them covered in dirt. I've taken the electrical connectors off, the sensors here. So now I need to take off all these bolts for the top cover. I do believe they're all 10mm by the look of it. I shall update if not. So I've taken the side cover off, just used a rubber mallet. Just be careful knocking it off, try not to hit the sensor. As you can see, there is like a sealant gasket type stuff that holds it on. So just gently taking it off. You'll see there's 2 pegs here. That's for 2 10mm bolts, or nuts rather. And the others are bolts. There's 6 of them. Now before I go any further, I'm going to drop the oil out into this plastic bucket. That is a 14mm sump plug. It's a bit stiff, so hopefully I'll be able to get it out without stripping anything. Success, and we didn't even make a mess either, which is always good news. So I've just aligned the engine to top dead centre on cylinder 1 using the good old screwdriver in the socket method. Lined up the marks as they are in the Haynes Book of Lies. So now we're at top dead centre, I can pretty much more confidently fiddle around the engine and take stuff off, knowing that it's where it needs to be when I put the chain back on. I just need to lock it up now, which I'm not too sure about how to do yet. I'll have to read the Book of Lies again, I think. I'm going to take the alternator belt off, and to do that I've got to undo the alternator. I think that's the bolt there that I need to undo to enable it to slide on this bracket, so I can just take the belt off. And I also need to take the power steering pump belt off. So same again, I think, that bolt there, just undo that and see how we get along. I've undone the top nut, and it didn't want to move, so obviously it's bolted on somewhere else. I had a look down here, and there you can see another bolt. If I just loosen that one off, it should move then, and I think that's a 14mm bolt. I don't know if this side's slightly different to the alternator side. I undid the 12mm there, but that didn't seem to want to make it move, so I've undone the tension a bit. At the back there you can see it's spread it out a bit more. It's still not loosening off, but if I go underneath and look from under here, you can see here
it's not slack at all.
That there's a 14mm bolt. I've now managed to get both belts off. It was a combination of the 12mm on the end of the tensioner there, and that 12mm there, and there's a little bolt just down there, 14mm, just allowed it to pivot just enough so I could get the belt off. So now I'm going to attack the water pump, which is, I hope, just a bolt there and a bolt there, but first I need to drain the coolant from the car, so I'll crack on with that now. Coolant's draining. I'm just taking off the water pump, and there's a 12mm there, focus, and a few other 12mm, sorry, we'll go further down, but one of them's pretty much hidden at the moment underneath the water pump, just above the crank pulley. I can't seem to get to it at the moment, so I'm working on taking off this little bracket here, which under here I've got the 12 out already, and that one's a 10 there, so I'm going to take that one out and see what happens. A bit of progress since I last filmed anything. The engine mounts off. It was a bit fiddly to get off. Some of the bolts were a bit tight and I was worried about snapping them, but that's out of the way, so I can get down there. And then the crank pulley, I loosened off the bolt this morning, so that can come off soonish. And then I can start working on taking all the bolts around the outside off, which should be fun. I've removed the crank pulley now. It was really easy to get off actually. I thought it'd be quite stiff, but it came off nicely. So now taking all these 10mm bolts off, and there's loads of them. I'll probably get a little bit of a picture or a video when I've taken the cover off to show you better. Just, I can't really get my phone in some places. You'll see one just there. I think I'm definitely going to have to remove the water pump pulley and the water pump to get the slot off. So I think I'll do that as well. So I took the water pump pulley off, and now I can get better access to all the 12mm bolts. The water pump housing, I've got all 10mm out now, including a really long one that came out of that hole. So, yep, see how we get on now. So I've got the water pump off. I've already drained the radiators and the lower coolant hose from the radiator, but just as he thought he's got everything out, oh no, look, there's always more hiding, dripping all over everything. Oh well, it's got to go somewhere. So here's where we're up to, guys. I've realised I really have to take the sump off to get this cover off, which is a bit of a ball ache. So there's loads of 10mm around the sump, and on the back side, the gearbox side, is two 10mm nuts, which are a bit of a pain in the backside to get to, but gettable with some funky ratchet extensions. And then to drop the sump, I've had to take off this rear engine brace, so that I can get the clearance for the sump to drop down and come off, because as it was just getting caught on that. So get the sump off, get this cover off, and we're nearly on the home run then to take the chain off. Fingers crossed anyway. Cheers. That was un battle royale. It was a proper nightmare trying to get that bloody thing off. It ended up I have to take the pickup pipe off as well, which is two 10mm fasteners. So now we have a very bare underneath the engine. So now, fingers crossed, I can take this bloody cover off, finally. Well, the deeper I get into the engine, the harder stuff is to get off. I've just had a massive fight with the cover, getting it off the pegs, because the pegs were a bit corroded. There's one, there's other, but finally I'm off. So now is to take off all the timing chain gear, and Bob's your uncle, I guess. I still need to lock the cams. I haven't done that yet, but I figured from reading the Haynes Book of Lies that I can do it with a spanner and hold on to them as I loosen the bolt off, so hopefully that should be good. So before I carry on, I thought I'd just show you, I've unscrewed a 12mm there, this hole, and then a bit further down, can you see, there is a 12mm, a bit further down, across a bit, there, that's where the other 12mm is. And that obviously takes any tension that was on the chain, i.e. none, off the chain. So now we'll take this tensioner off, and this arm should come off. Tensioner's off now. It is fed by oil pressure to maintain tension when the engine's running. So obviously this has been sat a while now, so there's literally no pressure, but the spring's still popped out. So just be wary. I don't think it would cause you an injury anyway, but just in case. So now I'm going to take this, I don't know what it is, brace, rattle thing, take this off the top. It's 210s. The tensioner was 210s as well. One in the top there and one in the bottom there. So I got the crank sprocket off. The chain is obviously flappy now, useless. I need a 22mm spanner, which is currently one of the ones I don't own, to hold the cams to get the bolt off the end, which is also 22mm. Once they're off, then I can fit a new one and then put it all back together again. But that's it for today now. I think there's not much further I can get without a 22mm spanner, so I'll go hunt one. Hi folks, finally got the camshaft bolts off. As you can see here, there's the sprockets and the chain, and there's the washers. It's really tight to get them off. I don't know what the torque specs on them were, but yeah, really tight. So now I need to wait for a chain kit to arrive, get some oil, some coolant, some sealant, clean it up and replace the chain.